another edition of Natural Crafts. And if you know anything about the kind of videos I like to make, it's about things that we find abundantly in nature that we can turn into crafts and decor items. So today we're going to do driftwood wreaths, and they're fantastic because all you really need is to go and collect some driftwood, some kind of backing for your wreath, and then simply just glue them on. The wonderful thing about driftwood is it is super lightweight, so you can make a very large wreath that really doesn't take much to hang. And we're going to show you a couple of options. One bigger wreath, and then I've got a little kind of step-by-step tutorial at the end of the video to show you how to make this small starburst wreath. So let's get started. Now before I started the video, what I did is I collected different types of driftwood, and I kind of already laid them out. I have a base of a grapevine wreath, and I kind of laid them out already so I knew how many pieces that I needed. The nice thing is that because when you go and collect driftwood, there's usually a lot of it, especially if you're around the lake or if you're in cottage country. So once you've collected all of your driftwood, you can kind of sort through and pick the ones that really speak to you. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to take the piece of driftwood, and I usually like to lay the flat part onto the actual wreath. And because I wanted to use this grapevine wreath because there's lots of different places to attach it and stick it on. So all you need is your handy glue gun, and look at where you're going to attach it, and then just run the glue along the grapevine, and then you can just simply stick this right on top. I look for places where they're kind of going to fit and they're going to snug into the wreath that kind of has an interesting shape, and then I'll just glue it on and hit the next one. So I'm going to go around and attach all of these larger pieces first. Okay, so as you can see, I've already started. What I try and do is keep the same distance between them. We're going to fill in things in between them. But I also try and bring the edge of the driftwood down kind of along the front or the inside face of the wreath, so that when you actually have it up, it's going to hide most of the wreath. Only takes a couple of seconds for the glue to adhere because the wood's really, really dry. If you were out and you collected a whole bunch of driftwood and for some reason, it was wet, just lie it out on your front porch or somewhere where it's going to get lots of sunlight, and they'll dry out really, really quickly. Okay, now we've got all the first layer done. So you can see how I've kind of spaced them apart, and they're pretty much the same length. But now I want to add in some of these amazing swirly sticks that I found. It kind of creates that kind of starburst look. So in between all of the big pieces, I'm going to start laying these starbursts. And the same principle applies this time, except with the little ones, you put the glue right on the sticks. I'm just going to keep going around until we fill another row. And for those of you who like puzzles, this is kind of like a puzzle. You're trying to find the piece that will fit in. And if you have to, you can, usually most of them you can clip. And the nice thing too about when you're making the wreath, because the sticks don't really have to lay flat. If they stand up, raise up a little bit, that looks really neat too. It's kind of almost finished putting kind of all of my sunbursts in, and then we're going to fill in with some smaller pieces. Okay, now for the last part, we're just going to try and fill in so there's no real empty spaces. So for this, I usually keep these aside. I pick the most interesting pieces that I have. So the same thing, you're just going to attach it with the glue, and you're just going to fill in spaces all the way around, kind of on the inner rim, so that it hides whatever spaces are still existing. Okay, now that I've filled in most of the inner thing to hide the grapevine wreath, I'm just going to put it up on the wall, and then you can see where there's any spaces that you need to fill in. So maybe just a couple more put in there. So I'm just going to fill those in, and then we'll see how it looks. Oh, it looks pretty great actually. Right now I'm going to show you how to make that smaller starburst. So I'm going to show you a quick step-by-step for this one. I just used a cardboard back, and then I just attached one of those hooks So the nice thing about the Grapevine wreath is you can hang it on existing hooks that you have. Starburst is really quite simple. Just use a cardboard backing cutout, lay down your driftwood pieces, make sure they kind of form that starburst circle, then glue them on, and just keep filling in the first layer until you've covered most of the cardboard. Then look for some really interesting pieces to use as the top layer. Simply glue them on to the bottom pieces and add those little starbursts at the end for the great effect. So don't forget, subscribe to my channel, Natural Crafts, and ring that bell right at the bottom of your screen because you will be informed every time a new video comes out. This video, I'm linking you to PussyWillow Wreath video, which is a fantastic spring activity. So get out there, do some foraging, and you'll be able to make wonderful natural crafts.